It's less than 3 hours drive from the University of Pittsburgh to Penn State University, but it's been more than 3 decades since they played prime time. But September 8th on ABC, it's going to be Draw the Curtains, Hit the Lights when the Panthers play Penn State. I'm Jonathan Yates, and we're here at the University of Pittsburgh with Heather Lyke, the athletic director, to talk about that game and all the other great things she's accomplished in a little over a year. Thank you for having me here today.
Well, welcome to Pittsburgh. No, glad to have you, and thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to be back. So how did you make this come about, the game? First time in prime time in over 30 years.
Well, I don't know that I had a lot to do with it. You know, we're fortunate. We're lucky that we have a strong brand of football. Our program's headed in the right trajectory under Coach Narduzzi. This is an unbelievable tradition of a rivalry game. This will be the 99th year, and obviously ESPN and ABC saw great value in that game, and so we also need to say a big thank you to the Pirates. Their game was originally scheduled at 7 o'clock, and we are grateful for the relationship we have with them. Frank Coonley and Bob Nutting and all those gentlemen, we asked them if they would be willing to move the game up to accommodate a potential evening game, and they responded immediately and were really cooperative and understand the value of that game and what it means to everybody here in Pittsburgh.
Now, you went to the University of Michigan and worked at Ohio State, so how is this game going to compare to a Big Ten spectacle?
You know, it's every bit as, I don't know that there's anything you can greater than a great rivalry game. You know, there's profound respect for one another. Obviously, there's great tradition and history. When you think about the people who have played in that particular game here, the all-time greats, so, or coached in the game too. So, and I think what's most fun is that the people that come to the game remember. You know, I've heard zillions of stories. I was at that game in whatever year, and so yeah, there's nothing like a rivalry. It's a great thing to be a part of.
Now, are you going to ask us to suspend disbelief and say that the Pennsylvania Turnpike has suspended tolls for the game?
Yeah, that's well beyond my pay grade. I'm not in charge of that yet.
That would be a miracle or something like
No, but come on over. It'll be worth the trip. I'll tell you that.
Now, there's an old saying in college sports that's good coach, great athletic director, bad coach, bad search committee. You've got great coaches here, and you just hired Jeff Capel from one of the best programs. How did you pull that off?
You know, I think when you have the opportunity to hire a head coach, I don't know that there's anything more important than what we do, because those coaches impact the lives of our student athletes every day directly. We sort of have an indirect impact in the administrative world, but coaches directly impact those lives. So, you know, you search the country and you rely on your network of people out there and your experiences, and find, you know, who is either prepared, ready, anxious to become a head coach or has been doing it somewhere. I'll just tell you that I think Pitt is a tremendous place to recruit to. The city of Pittsburgh, the people, our athletic department, and where we're headed. I think that there's a lot to offer, and being a part of the ACC, we have the opportunity to go and compete for ACC championships, and when you compete for ACC championships, you're on a national stage and a platform to compete for NCAA championships. So you want coaches who have that courage and have that confidence that they can come in and be a part of building it with us. So that's Jeff.
What do you look for when you hire a coach? You've played sports, you've worked your way up through the ranks, you've got that volleyball trophy out there in the lobby.
Yeah. Well, Dan Fisher and the volleyball team earned that trophy, that's for sure. I'll say, you know, you look for integrity first. I think people of great character that are in coaching for the right reasons. And, you know, Andy Geiger told me that a long time ago. He was my boss at Ohio State, and I think he hired some extraordinary coaches there. Or we did so together in some situations, and Gene too. But, you know, they want to be coaching for the right reasons. It's about the relationship with the student athletes. It's about the student athlete experience. It's not really about their 300th win or whatever. And you get a feel for it pretty quickly. You know, coaches who come in and say, what can I do for this place, or what is this place going to do for me? There's very different. So, you know, I think Coach Capel's a guy that, you know, what can I do for this place? He's got a ton of confidence. He's got great charisma and integrity. And, you know, what he draws upon, which is important to me, was the impact that his father had as a coach, that story and that experience of him as a young child and watching his dad develop the relationships with his players that he wants to emulate, you can see that in him. Jeff Capel claims himself to be and I'm an okay husband or whatever, but I'm a fabulous dad. And I think he approaches his job as, these are kids that I get a chance to impact too.
Do you see anything in him that he got from Coach K?
Absolutely. I think his career was a bit backwards. He became a head coach right out of college and jumped right into the coaching ranks as a head coach. And having the chance to come back to Duke and understand what it takes to build and sustain a winning program. He's a bright guy. He's very astute and really studied what it takes to build and sustain it, as opposed to just have a great season, or have a great year. It's how do you build this program over time, and it takes time. There's foundational blocks. There's that he's focused on building it in time. There's not a rush to make it all happen tomorrow. But I think he's in it for the long haul, and he will absolutely build our program back to where we want it to be.
Now, I'm a huge college hoops fan, and I've read that he's had recruiting successes already. I can't imagine a state more difficult to recruit in than Pennsylvania, with Villanova, Penn State, and the Big Five over in Philadelphia. Does he have a lockdown strategy where he says, Pittsburgh belongs to us with recruiting strategy?
I think that people want to play for winners. Jeff Capel's a winner. I mean, he's been around winning programs his whole life. He played at the highest level in college, and he's got great confidence in his ability to build a team. And one of the things that he describes too is this team is, he wants everybody to own it. And when you think about, when you own your first house, how much more you take care of it than beforehand. And so when you own the program, when you're a part of building and owning it as a kid, as a player, you're going to take better care of it. And so, I think his confidence resonates with young people. I think his ability to teach and develop young people is impressive. And so I think that kids know that they can come here and we're going to go to battle for some ACC championships.
So you grew up in the Midwest, played ball there, and coached and worked in sports administration. What do you miss most about the Midwest now that you're in ACC country?
I still think of Pittsburgh as somewhat Midwest-ish. I think what's most impressive and what I've enjoyed most about Pittsburgh certainly is the people here. I think they have a Midwest flair. I think that they're very warm and welcoming and genuine, and they want you to love Pittsburgh as much as they do, which it's hard not to. So it sucks you in pretty quickly, and you get brainwashed pretty quickly. But I've really enjoyed it. I mean, it's a tremendous city. It's a tremendous, the university, the leadership here is extraordinary.
So is the food and wine scene as great as Pittsburgh, as I've read?
It is. It's definitely a food town, what people tell me. I don't eat out that much, only when people offer to take me out to dinner, but or I take them. But yeah, no, that is a reputation that's real, and there's a lot of unique, authentic restaurants here, and trendy area down in the Strip District and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I haven't had a bad meal since I've been here.
Now, one thing about the University of Pittsburgh is it's got a tremendous academic reputation. How easy does that make it for you to recruit players, coaches, and administrators? Oh,
I mean, again, I think you have it all. You have a very livable city. It's a big city. It has everything that you could want in a city, but not, the massive traffic and expenses and all that sort of thing. So I think it's an extraordinary city, great culture, great sports. It is a sports town. People follow and care about sports in Pittsburgh. And they support one another too. I think they're going to support winners. I mean, that's the reality. So once this program, for example, our softball team made a little run here in the spring and got to the ACC championship game, and I can't tell you how many messages I got. I really have never watched college softball on TV, but I'm following the Panthers. And
now, did it make you want to put the glove back on?
Oh, I was a little critical of the game, maybe more so than I should be. But no, yeah, I was yelling at the TV pretty loud. So we were awfully close. But so they follow winners, and that's what's exciting. This city, the number of alumni, the number of people that care about Pitt doing well is exceptional, and so you can feel it really, really easily. And I think it's, the academic reputation of the university, the faculty, the deans, they understand athletics' role and how it can build a sense of pride and can unite and connect, engage our city and our campus. And so that's a great spot to be in when the academic side supports what athletics is going on and athletics supports academics. It's a really nice place to be.
So you've checked every box in athletics, from playing to coaching. So what have you learned? How has your leadership style changed as you just ascended to the ranks to being, the athletic director at an ACC school who just signed a 6-year extension?
I suppose I'm really grateful for the people I've worked for, and I always say I could write a book on, what it's like to work for the greatest bosses, but, I learned a lot from Bob Goyne and Gene Smith and Andy Geiger in my growing up in the business. I learned a lot from a number of amazing head coaches too, in the way that they build their programs and lead their programs and challenge their teams to get better and never settle for just being average. And so as an athletic department, I think the same thing holds true. I mean, we need to surround every coach with the best development team, media relations team, video production, compliance, whatever area within the athletic department you're in charge of or work in. You got to be the best. You got to be better than you were yesterday. And so I approach going to work kind of like you would go to practice, and you don't go there to get, you go to get better, right? And you're going to work hard to improve. And so that's what we want our administrative team. I mean, we're doing some great things, but the challenge is always how do you make it better, and that's an opportunity.
Now, in terms of challenges, you were athletic director at Eastern Michigan, which is Big Ten country. You've got Michigan, Michigan State, not only that, Notre Dame. Yeah. How did you have so many successes there? It was remarkable what you achieved.
I think it's a matter of belief. You believe in the people that you bring in. We were able to hire a number of great head coaches there. I would say in particular our football coach, but that is a school that has had a decent history of success, but not so much on the football side. So you just have to believe in what you're doing and how you're building it. And a lot of it is, people didn't think you could do it. Well, if you didn't believe you could do it, then I didn't want you in the organization. If you don't believe you can win ACC championships here, that's what we're here to do. So you probably are not going to fit in what we're trying to accomplish. We have to believe internally before people externally will believe, obviously. So I think it's about a belief system. It's about building that culture where people understand that everybody matters. Every job is important. It's just not the head coach and the players. So everybody plays a role in that success.
So it was a smooth transition, your skill set from Eastern Michigan to ACC?
Yeah, I've been around, I think trying to aspire to be the best that you can be and be a national, champion. And so I think in the ACC, if you're going to be in the hunt to win ACC championships, you're going to be in the hunt to win a national championship in our sports. So, I understand what that culture looks like.
Now, I was in Boston last year filming at the lacrosse championship, and I was talking to someone afterwards, and we were talking about the new athletic director of Boston College, who was hired from Ohio State. And the guy said, it's going to be a real cultural shock for him. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, he's coming from Columbus in Ohio, where Ohio State's the king. But he's coming up here to Boston, where Boston College might have about a 20 to 25% fan base. Have you felt the same cultural thing here, coming here to Pittsburgh, where you're coming in here, you've got Penn State in football, you've got Villanova in basketball, and just a whole lot of others. Have you seen sort of a fight for the fan base? Or does Pittsburgh control Western PA?
Oh, Pittsburgh controls Western PA. Yeah, I think that's a different state, they say, right? Over there. No, Pittsburgh controls Western PA. I think Pittsburgh controls Pennsylvania as far as ACC country. I think we have a real strong presence here. I think I can't tell you there's infinite examples in 1 year of the support that the Steelers and the Penguins and the Pirates have given us. So I feel a part of the fabric in the city of Pittsburgh, in the city of champions. One of our core values is champions live here, specifically because we live in the city of champions. That's not about pro sports, it's about all sports here. And so, I think that we have a very strong presence, and I think it's about Pitt.
You know, like the Steelers, the Pirates, and the Penguins, the medical school here at Pitt is top-notch too. How do you work with them to bring in more research and more athletes too, bringing the two together?
Yeah, UPMC is the largest university medical collaboration in the country. The type of medical care that our student athletes receive, number one, is extraordinary. We just have world-class physicians, world-class facilities in that sense. And I think we are untapped in the ability on the research side, on the human performance side. That's certainly something we're developing in a facility vision we're calling Victory Heights, is a Center for Human Performance. And it's an opportunity for us to collaborate more on campus with the quality of research opportunities and faculty that we have doing human performance research. We will be taking advantage of those opportunities coming down the pike.
And how is that evolving? Are the student athletes starting to plug into it and maybe think of careers in medicine that
Oh yeah, it's interesting when you come. The quality of student athletes we have here is exceptional because of the academic institution, and you're in the hub of the medical center here in the world of athletics. We have great relationships with people at UPMC and those physicians, and any opportunities that our student athletes have to pursue advanced degrees or just career opportunities. There's a lot of connections and just chances for our student athletes to get those kinds of experiences.
I've interviewed a lot of athletic directors for my shows, and they all pretty much say the same thing. It's around the junior year that the light bulb goes off for the athletes and they realize, I'm not going to make the pros. I need to start thinking about a second career and things like that. How many have come up to you around the junior year and said, I really like you, you've got a great program here at Pitt. How do I pursue a career in sports administration?
I don't know when the light bulb, it's interesting. Some light bulbs go off earlier, some not so early. I didn't really.
Some stay dim.
Some stay dim, yeah. I went to law school after college. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I don't think that that's a problem for kids. Pursuing and continuing your education is something no one can take away from you. So I encourage them, go and get your advanced degree, because when they're a student athlete, they're so concentrated on their sport and their academics, and they don't get a lot of time to have internships and work experiences. So I encourage student athletes, go get an advanced degree. Education, no one can take it away from you. And during those advanced degree years, you can get some work experience where you really start to see, what do I want to do? What do I enjoy? And I'll tell you for myself, I looked at my college coach, who's still coaching today, and Hutch used, I said, if I could love going to work as much as she loves coaching softball, then I will have some success someday. And so I encourage kids to pursue what they're passionate about. What do you absolutely love? And because that's what you're really going to be good at someday. And so we have a great life skills program. It's the Kathy and John Pelusi Life Skills Program here at Pitt. That is, I would argue, I would like to see a life skills program better than ours. It's extraordinary what they do, the relationships that they build with our student athletes, and the chance to get them prepared for life after sport is really exceptional.
Do you see more athletes aware of the opportunity to earn a graduate degree while they're on scholarship?
Yeah, we encourage them. Especially if they have an additional year of eligibility, absolutely try to get done in 4 and at least get your 5th year paid for by partial or whatever portion of athletic scholarship they're on. It's really wise of them because they have another year of eligibility and they can go to graduate school, and the graduate programs here are exceptional. So I would encourage them to do that.
Now, you're a living example of the greatness of Title IX. What have you seen its impact being from your personal experience?
It's hard because I'm definitely a product of it, but I probably reaped the benefits of others much before me. I did pull my own tarp in college, so and I'm sure they don't do that now, but I think that there's a lot of other women who just got the first opportunity and were the first in their, first to earn a scholarship or those types of things. And I'm just grateful that they, that people gave them the opportunity, that they continued to fight for opportunities. Back in the day, I remember my mom played college field hockey, but she also played basketball, and that you could only run like half the court or something, because they had one position, the rover, that would go the entire court, because they didn't know women could run that far. I mean, it's kind of shocking when you hear stories like that.
Well, how did you get into softball?
I wanted to play. I went to baseball practice with my brother, so I just would shag balls. And my dad coached my first softball team at age 9, and literally, I mean, my brother's team, they were the Bears, right? And the softball teams were all named after candy, so we were the Sweet Tarts. And like that in and of itself, when I think back about the Sweet Tarts, we played the Tootsie Rolls every year in the championship, and and then you
did a dentist sponsor?
I don't know. No, we exchanged candy at the end of the game. It's really funny. I haven't thought about that in a long time, but and the best Tootsie Roll, she went to Northwestern, and so when she was
that
3,
always happens.
Yeah,
right?
that always happens. She was 3 years older than me, and I thought, she's going to go to Northwestern and play softball. I want to play softball in college, and that was sort of one of my inspirations.
So did you hit for power or hit for average as a first baseman?
I was a single hitter. I slapped a little bit, but I was not a power hitter necessarily. I was consistent.
Now, have you seen more and more female athletes come to you and ask about how to pursue a career in college sports administration?
Yeah, and that's been it's been really fun to see. Young women and young people in the profession, or student athletes that didn't know that this job existed. I mean, I didn't know going to college that you could do this someday. I mean, I really didn't. There was a woman at Michigan, Peg Bradley-Doppis, and she just retired as the athletic director at Denver. And she was a senior associate AD at Michigan. And I remember getting ready to graduate from law school, going in my 3rd year, and calling her and saying, I think I want to be you. Like, you seem to have like this unbelievable, because she had an unbelievable impact on me.
And what advice did she give you?
She said, you absolutely can do this. Never let anybody put limits on yourself, and go work at the NCAA. Get some experience at the national office, because you'll have a really good understanding of what college athletics is about, and you'll start to build a network of people within the profession that you can build upon.
And when you were working at Ohio State or Cincinnati, did you ever sit down with Gene Smith or anyone else and say, how do I move through the ranks? What should be my next step without seeming disloyal?
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. Gene knows this. He one day pulled me into his office and said to me, "What are you going to do?" And so I panicked, and I was like, "Today?" Because I have a list of things, And he's like, "No, with your career." And it was the first time that someone really challenged me to think about that. And I hadn't given it much thought. I honestly was just working really hard and thinking things would happen. And you have to be a little bit more intentional than that. And so his message to me was, well, figure out what you want to do, and then let me know, and I'll help you. And so I think that was a subtle but direct way of saying, I think you can do more. And he's like, you can't be the AD here. You got to go get some experience, Heather. You got to go. And you are a leader, and you can do more than you're doing. You've done everything you can do here. I want you to take advantage of it if that's what you want to do. And so he really was supportive and helpful in many, many ways, and continues to be so today. I mean, it's always a confidant I can call on.
Now, I taught at the University of Iowa last semester, and everyone in my class wants to be an athletic director. There's no question about that. But in my interviews, like Joe Parker at Colorado State, he said he was having beers with some buddies after graduation, and that's when his light bulb went off a little better, and said that. And for Debbie Yao and Judy Rose, it said they wanted to be coaches first, but as Judy Rose said, she didn't want her career based on the ability of an 18-year-old to make a free throw at the end of the game. Did you want to be a coach coming out?
No, I definitely did not. I don't touch. I mean, I love softball, but I loved a lot more about college than just softball. I love my friend. I joined a sorority. I love my friends. I loved, I loved more understanding the whole business of college athletics as opposed to just one sport. And I do enjoy all the sports. I mean, I like watching a ton of them. So
You had the good fortune to work for one of the best agents, Mark McCormick. What did you learn from him, and how was that overall experience?
you know,
Sort of on the dark side.
yeah. So my second year of law school, I took the internship. It was an unpaid internship. And I think my
character.
Yeah. I think my parking spot cost more than my apartment downtown Cleveland. And you know, again, one of the things you learn there is you got to sacrifice. I mean, sometimes you do have to take any old internship, an opportunity to connect and just get experience. You know, Mark addressed our internship class. You know, he's since passed, and I remember him telling us. You know, he got into the agent business because of relationships. And he said relationships are going to take you so much further than anything else you can quantify in life.
Have you found that to be true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, relationships with your colleagues, with coaches, with the chancellor, with board members. I mean, relationships matter. And so that's what because he started IMG, you know, he's a former golfer, right? So his first 3 clients were Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, and Jack Nicklaus. I mean, like, not a bad foursome,
No,
right? You know,
no.
With Mark. And Mark said I was the worst golfer in the group. And
Go figure.
yeah. And so, but he had incredible relationships with those gentlemen. And so that was one of the messages I always remember him saying, that, you know, your relationships in life will take you so much further than anything else that you can have. And so, so that was his intro story for us.
Now, when I interviewed Representative Glenn Thompson for my show, who represents this area of Pennsylvania in the United States Congress, the line he said was, you know, that this is a tough area to live, but the people are tougher. Have you found that to be true about the character and values?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was funny. I just came from the football golf outing this morning. I just went to say hello to everybody. And you know, there was a guy walking up, I don't know, knock on wood, he had to be like 85 years old, and you know, at least. And it was a hot day. It was going to be a warm day, a beautiful day, and he was just getting there as they were getting ready to take a group photo. And I was like, "Oh, you made it, Jack." He's like, "I wouldn't miss this," you know. And so I don't know what he had to endure, you know, prepare to get ready to go there today, but there was nothing going to stop him from coming to that football golf outing. The alumni, the connections, you know, relationships, and he's supportive and long time. Heather, this is going to be my 75th year watching Pitt football. I mean, think about that, you know. I think he started going, you know, when he was 14 or something. So, I mean, he's just a really neat guy. So, yeah, I find people to be very tough, you know, and there's nothing kind of stopping you.
Now, have you found the alumni base here to be as strong as the alumni base at Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're very loyal. I don't know that they're as, I mean, you know, there's the classes of Ohio State, you know, the size,
Sure.
the scope of the university is a little bit bigger. So there's probably more of them. And but I would say that the pride in the script pit and the history and the following, and that my grandfather took me to the game and my brother took me to the game, and I remember walking up Cardiac Hill, and the stories that they remember are every bit as vivid and colorful as.
Now, you just signed a 6-year contract, so what do you hope to accomplish in the next 6 years?
Gosh, I mean, how long do we have? So a lot, you know, I mean.
You've got great facilities being built.
Yeah.
Wonderful coaches coming in.
Yeah, I feel great about our coaching staff so far. You know, we continue to just really try to elevate the level of competitiveness of our programs. And I feel great about the team and the culture. So you always, again, come to work and get better every day. So we'll always evaluate what we're doing. We need to become a real competitor in the ACC. You know, so from a facility standpoint, we have a pretty big vision called Victory Heights, and it's a facility master plan that we've worked on over the past year, and it's really to renovate and redesign the whole athletic footprint of our campus on the upper campus here, and that's an extraordinary vision. It's very possible and doable and necessary. So I think what's great about that is, you know, we've got an unbelievable chancellor, great board, university leadership that support what athletics is about. They understand that we probably haven't invested across the board in athletics like we need to. We have 19 teams here at Pitt, and we want to win ACC championships in all 19 teams. You know, gymnastics is in a different conference, but you know, that's where we want to be. We want to get in the hunt. You're not going to win it every year, but there's a big difference between, you know, what softball just experienced this year, which is, you know, 3 outs away from winning the ACC championship and going to the NCAAs, versus, you know, not even making the tournament and not really being, you know, being a last seed or something like, you know, there's just a big gap. And so we got to get our teams in the hunt. And so there's some facility needs and not like wants. These are necessary things that that we want our student athletes to have. When you meet with a recruit, I want to say that coming to Pitt will be one of the most extraordinary experiences in your life. Not the most, but one, you know, we want them to go do great things, but one of the most extraordinary experiences. And when you say that, you want them to have this incredible athletic experience. Obviously, I know they're going to have an incredible academic experience. But athletically and personally and socially, we want to develop them to be really proud alumni and people that we're proud of when they graduate. And I think athletically, we're not quite there all across the board with our 19 teams, and we can be. So that's...
You have a very strong alumni base here at Pitt. What was the reaction like when the game was announced for Penn State on September 8th, prime time?
I've gotten a lot. My phone, you know, tends. My phone tends to blow up on, you know, on great experience. You know, when football beat Miami, you know, when we hire Coach Capel, when we hire Coach White, you know, when things happen, people notice, and that's great.
That's wonderful to have an alumni base like that. Now, Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, he's looking for a second headquarters. Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh's made it in the top 20. What would you say to him? What would you bring him to Pittsburgh for to convince him to put Amazon's second headquarters in Pittsburgh?
One, why not? Really, you know, this is a place that it's called the City of Champions because nobody settles for anything less than your best. And so this is a city that finds ways to get things done and makes things happen. And, you know, not every city is as passionate about that pursuit, I don't think. Others might have more land or topography or things like that. But do you want people every day thinking about how you can beat and be the number one, you know, how Amazon can be better than any other organization? This is a city that would do that. I mean, that's the culture that you walk into. People aren't excited about being second, you know, or not being the best. And so, you know, and they believe that they can do it. You know, I mean,
Did you realize that before you came here, or was it a pleasant surprise after you had been in Pittsburgh for a while?
You know, I knew it from afar, but I never really experienced it. But, you know, when Ryan Shazier goes down and all of a sudden it becomes hashtag, you know, Shaleave or whatever, you know, believe. And then you go around and the Penguins win their second Stanley Cup. Then the next day, the marketing thing is, you know, 3 leave or believe, you know, the B becomes a 3. You know, there's this sense of belief. And there's never really a doubt that you can do it.
So do you think if Bezos came to the Penn State game on September 8th, that would clinch the deal for Amazon's second headquarters being here?
Yeah, we'll put him on the stage of ESPN Game Day, which we're trying to get. No, you know, we will.
No, so if he doesn't come, can I have his tickets?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll save those for him because he might show up last minute. But yes, you're always welcome to.
I look forward to it. It'll be wonderful. Thank you again for the time.
Thanks.
This is Jonathan Yates. Thank you for joining us with this interview with Heather Lyke at the University of Pittsburgh.